Welcome to Family Timeout. Today we'll be looking at handling conflict in marriage. Matthew chapter 18 verse 7 tells us that woe unto the world because of offenses must need come. And you discover that when offenses come, they generate lots of conflicts. Now, every marriage undergoes one form of conflict or the other. One person is offended in one way or the other because of shared arguments or disagreements or how we perceive things differently. A lot of us see things from different perspectives, from our emotional uniqueness, from our likes and dislikes, our background, the environment we grew, and how we were groomed in our growing up days, our different cultures, our different ethnic background, and so on. And when we come into the institution of marriage, which is highly celebrated in the world, we live under one roof, different ideologies, the same budget, under the same roof. You just discover that we will not be able to agree on everything. And these are some of the things that generate conflict and offenses in marriages. The Bible has told us that offenses must come. And since we know that they must come, we need to know how to handle them. And that's the thrust of our discussion today. Conflict has its own advantage in marriage. Conflict provides room for growth and development between couples. Conflict creates an opportunity for understanding between couples. Conflict creates an opportunity to strengthen the marriage relationship. Now, when conflict arises, what do you do? How do you handle them? You discover that there are some different approaches to handle conflict, but some of them don't give us lasting solutions. Some of them just give us temporary solutions that don't keep the home moving the way it ought to move. They give us solutions that we don't have the real benefit of the marital union. We'll look at some of those different styles of conflict resolution. Number one is to withdraw. Whenever there's a problem, you withdraw. Say, no need to talk about it. And when you withdraw, what you discover is that you lose the opportunity for growth and development of the marriage. You lose that opportunity where you would have known your partner, where you would have been able to overcome your differences and move on. Number two style is winning. I must win at all cost. Whether I am right or wrong, I must win. And when you adopt this approach, you discover that you won't be concerned in the health of the relationship, the good of the marriage. You are only interested in your personal gains. And you may not always win, because a point will come where your partner will feel so horrible and defeated, and the relationship might get to a point of no return. But that's not going to be your portion. The third style of conflict resolution is to yield. Okay, since I'm not able to win this guy, it's okay. I'm not able to win my wife. Okay, I just swallow my opinion and I yield to whatever he or she wants. That's not healthy. It preserves the relationship, the marriage at the surface level. The depth of the home won't be there. You discover that if emotions and feelings are being buried because you just yield, you don't want argument, you don't want trouble, so the marriage develops superficially when you yield and you swallow your own opinions. Your spouse is not aware of what your thoughts are, what your opinions are, which if you had heard probably would have bettered the relationship. The fourth point is you compromise. Oh, okay, look, let me give to my partner needs. I don't need to struggle with him. Let him have his way. Probably at other time he's going to also compromise. This ends in a peaceful coexistence, but yet you discover that the standards are lowered. Your standards are lowered because you've compromised. And at the end of the day, you don't deal with the problems of the marriage at the root. And since they are not dealt with at the root, obviously they will still come up again, another time and in a different guise. The fifth style we'll look at is to resolve, which is in a way the best and appropriate method or style of resolving conflict in marriage. What you do is you walk through what is the cause of the conflict or the argument or the problem mutually, knowing too well that both of you have a stake. You deal with the issues and you exploit opportunities for solution for the health of the relationship. Now that takes us to what to do in resolving conflict. We'll quickly look at a few points, a few strategies that can help us resolve conflict. 1. Focus on learning how to control your anger, because obviously anger is a cause of the problems in the home. Anger, it's a strong emotion of displeasure. It can be used positively or negatively. How do you learn to control your anger? Admit that you are angry. Remember, the Bible says, be angry in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26 to 27. Be angry, but sin not. Admit that you are angry. Discover why you are angry. Know what has happened to cause the kind of anger in you. Know the level of hurt the anger has caused. What has it touched? Your ego, your person? And when this has been done, you try to now control your anger. You ask God for forgiveness. But first of all, before you ask Him for forgiveness, confess to Him that, Lord, you're angry. Acknowledge it that you're angry. Ask Him for forgiveness and ask Him to help you to control your anger. And I know if you do this, like what 1 John chapter 5 verse 14 says, if you pray and ask Him according to His will, He will answer you. And call upon Him in time of trouble, He will answer. Obviously, answers will be given. The next thing you need to do is, focus on tackling the conflict, not each other. Having identified the fact that you're angry and you want to control it, now focus on tackling the conflict, the cause of the problem, and not each other. It's important that you take responsibility. Identify what is troubling you. Evaluate the core of the conflict, the cause of it. Evaluate it. Is it what me getting this angry? And then examine your own behavior in the cause of what happened. Examine your own partner's behavior as well in contributing to the problem. Are you the cause, or is it my partner that is the cause? And then, having identified the problem, it's important that you attack the problem. Attack what the issue is, not your partner. Address issues and not personality. And it's important that you're not judgmental. Oh, not you caused this or no. Address the issues. The third point we'll be looking at is you decide to deal with the conflict issue as soon as possible. In Ephesians, the Bible tells us that, yes, be angry, but sin not, and do not allow your anger to go to the next day. Some issues in marriage can be dealt with immediately. However, there are some that can be allowed a cooling off period. Deal with issues immediately. But it's important also as well that as you allow for a cooling off period, let it not be too long. Otherwise, your partner will be building up resentment, silent resentment on the inside. And this can be dangerous for the marriage relationship. Then what do? Take the initiative and create an opportunity for conversation. Address the issue like we have talked earlier. Do not attack personality. There is no room for accusation. Don't be judgmental. And create a conducive atmosphere that everyone is free to talk and air his or her own grievances without being judged. And then avoid interruption. Give your partner the opportunity to freely discuss themselves. And remember, the Bible says in Matthew chapter 18 and in verse 15, it says, if you do not forgive if your brother sins against you, go and show him his fault, so that you can discuss about it and then move on. Because there's no need to harbor anger, bitterness, and all of those horrible emotions. And then the Bible also says in Matthew chapter 5, verse 23 to 24, you have a gift to give to God or a service to offer to God, and you discover that there's a problem with the brother. It's important that you go and address it. Otherwise, you'll just be wasting your time. I remember Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26. He said, let your anger not cross the next day. Resolve it immediately. So when you have created an opportunity, you go ahead and you discuss. Discuss openly and give your partner the opportunity to share her mind. Number 4 point is be prepared to admit when you are wrong. Now, having given an opportunity for open discussion, it's important for you to be humble enough to admit your wrongs. Having discovered that, okay, look, you caused the problem, be humble enough to admit your wrong. The Bible says in 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 5, God resists the proud, but he giveth grace to the humble. Even in James chapter 4, verse 6 as well. When you humble yourself, God honors you, he lifts you up. So when you discover that you're wrong, it brings more honor to you. So there's no need for egocentrism, self-centeredness, and pride to say, look, I cannot admit that I'm wrong. Admit it. It does not reduce your person. And one thing it does is when you humbly own up to your wrongs, without pride, without any form of anger, you create an atmosphere for improved communication in your marriage, and it deepens the relationship with your partner. The Bible says, confess your fault one to another. It's there you have good success. By the time you open up, for him to know, okay, look, okay, maybe this is what happened. That is why I said what I said. He or she is relaxed. That self-defense will be broken, and there will be openness, and you enjoy your home. The next important point that I would like us to look at is that focus on solution and not on the problem. Having admitted that yes, you're wrong, you've through the open discussion, focus on solution. The purpose of you discussing is for you to have a solution. When you have identified the problems, there's no point wasting your effort and your energy on, okay, look, what will be the way forward? Mutually work together for acceptable and workable solutions. And then list a number of possible solutions, evaluate them together, evaluate those solutions together, and how to achieve them. And you discover that mutual sharing promotes growth and understanding. It promotes growth and understanding. And when you both work on these solutions, it will be easy for both of you, to implement them. I'd like you to know this. Resolving conflict is not about winning or losing. No. It's for both the husband and the wife finding creative solutions that bring satisfaction to all. You discover that by the time you resolve conflicts or any problem together, constructively, you feel happier, you feel more secure, you feel more loved and more fulfilled. So it's important that conflict is not about winning or it's not about losing. You are in together. And if you are a true believer, he says for better, for worse. If you can humble yourself to adopt these approaches, for sure, your conflict will be resolved amicably. The last point I'd like us to look at is end all conflict by an act of forgiveness. End all conflict by an act of forgiveness. Having created the way, solution, and all of that, end it with forgiveness. Matthew chapter 6, verse 14 to 15, tells us that we should forgive as God has forgiven us. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32 also talks about that while we were yet sinners, Christ forgave us without attaching any condition to it. So, end all conflict with an act of forgiveness. Now, forgiveness must not be conditioned. It must be unconditional. Forgive him without giving your spouse, your husband, or your wife any condition. I'd like us to know a few things about forgiveness. Forgiveness is not a feeling. It is an act of the will. So don't say, I still feel the pain, I still feel the hurt. No. You make up your mind that I'm going to forgive this. So you don't need your emotions or your feelings to forgive. You take a deliberate decision to forgive the hurt that is caused you. So it's a deliberate act of the will. Forgiveness may not necessarily lead to forgetting. It doesn't mean that you may forget. But one thing you need to know is that when you forgive, the feelings of bitterness, those feelings of resentment that surrounds the offense are handled with the act of forgiveness. So our emotions are no longer affected when you have forgiven the person. Now, forgiveness is a logical action taken by the will that says the thoughts and feelings. It speaks to the thoughts and feelings. After you've taken a logical action by the will and you communicate to your feelings and to your thoughts that matter is over completely, I have forgiven him. So forgive your spouse, forgive him. Now, forgiveness is not demanding your partner to change before you do. You must forgive him unconditionally. Note, time does not heal any wound. It is only forgiveness that can heal that conflict. Forgive your husband. Forgive your wife. Resolve your conflicts together. Note, conflicts are never fun. But as Christians, when it arises, we deal with it immediately and get the benefits out of it. God bless you. Enjoy your home and stay conflict-free. But if it comes, make sure you resolve it. God bless you. You can share this video. If there are questions, no problem, at the comment section. Ask your questions and then we can take this discussion further. Thank you and God bless you.